Is it going? Hi everyone, my name is Ashley, otherwise known as Saint-Vire. I love to play video games, I love to muck around with my friends, I spend way too much time on YouTube, and I actually also run my own business from home. I own a business called SOAPS, and as you can probably tell by the name of the business, I make soap. So I make soap by hand, the old traditional way, and I also have been stretching out into making other body products. This is my first soap video I'll be sharing on my channel, but also because I have a really exciting announcement to make. And the announcement that I'm going to share is actually that Saint Soaps is going to be presenting and selling at Sydney Supanova 2019. Like, I'm so excited because I love Supanova. It's actually, to me, one of the best events that I go to. So what I'm doing is for Supanova, I'm going to be releasing a bunch of these videos, and it's going to be get ready with me for Supanova. So it will be a different soap that I'm going to be making, which will be debuting and will be for sale for the first time at Supanova. So this first soap that we'll be making today is a chocolate milkshake soap, and this one is actually Animal Crossing inspired, and so this is to do with like the little cafe and the little treats and food that you can get there. So it's kind of a bit of a vague kind of connection, but I thought it was a really cute soap to go with a really cute game. And you know, who doesn't love chocolate, who doesn't love a treat like a milkshake? And so we're going to be seeing how these milkshake I'm supposed to say cookies for some reason, these milkshake soaps are going to be made. So I hope that you guys are excited about seeing what happens, and yeah, let's get into the video and see how it goes.
Okay, ready to start. I've got my base of oils all mixed together, and they're cooled to just above like room temperature, I'd say. And I've got my bucket of lye water, which is also at the same temperature as the oils. This is cooled down to about room temperature. Tapping out all the bubbles with my mixer stick, and then I'm going to carefully pour the lye water into the oil mixture. When combining the two, it's always really important to make sure you put the lye water into the oils and not the other way around, because you can get like a bit of a volcanic explosion kind of happen. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I've mixed all my oils and the lye water together really well, and I'm going to have it come to like a light trace. So that means that it's still kind of liquidy, but that it's all mixed together, because sometimes you can get what's called a fake trace where you think that it's mixed but it's still kind of a bit separate. So sometimes it can take a bit of practice to make sure you get it right. Now I'm getting ready to add the titanium dioxide, which is a natural colorant. I've mixed the powder with water, and I'm just going to add it straight into the bucket of the mixture and then mix it all together. Adding the titanium dioxide at this stage of the process while the mixture was still quite liquidy was a decision I made because it allowed me to make sure that the colorant was completely mixed into the soap base, but at the same time that I could keep an eye on how thick the mixture was getting. If you're adding a fragrance, sometimes the fragrance can accelerate the process, which makes it quite tricky to get the right consistency in the soap. Now I've finished mixing up the base mixture, I'm going to show you the lovely accident which I had. I tried making chocolate freckle soap. I forgot what they might be called in other countries, but in Australia we call them chocolate freckles. So they're like dollops of chocolate, and they usually have like hundreds and thousands of sprinkles put all over the top. I tried making them and they came off, you know, kind of okay, but I wasn't satisfied with them. So I shaved up the soap and turned them into these chocolate curls. So they have already set and cured for a while. They're, you know, obviously solid, they're not liquid soap. And what I'm doing is I'm carefully mixing it into the liquid soap that I still have, like the batter if you want to call it. So this is the first time I'm doing it, and I'm trying to estimate how much I think should go into it, because I want to make sure that the ratio is still good. I want to make sure that the liquid soap is going to act like the glue, and that should be the biggest part of the big soap loaf that I'm making. So it's still quite liquidy, you can see as I've, just moved the bucket around. Now the mixture is ready to pour into the mold. So I've pulled out my custom sized acrylic mold. It's pretty fantastic. All of the sides and the bottom you can actually pull apart, so it makes it molding the soap a lot easier. I have lined it with plastic cling wrap because I find that it does make the sides smoother and nothing like pulls off or sticks to the acrylic. So nice and easy. The mixture, thank goodness, hadn't seized up or anything. It was still nice and fluid for me to pour in. And has anybody ever eaten, those Viennetta? Are they Viennetta ice cream cakes? I remember eating them as a kid, and you can still get them in the store. Do the curls, chocolate curls in this cream colored mixture, not remind you of a Viennetta ice cream cake? Like, pretty delicious. But I resisted eating the soap, of course. I've restrained myself. So I'm just making sure I've tapped down the container, and I'll make sure I do that quite a few times before letting it settle, because I want to make sure that there's no air bubbles throughout the mixture, especially because there are those chocolate curls in there. Hopefully the liquid will get in between all of the layers of the curls there. So I'm just making sure that it's all even and that it's all tidy and ready to go, so I can let it sit. And so we'll let it sit for, I usually let it sit for maybe at least an hour before I would start icing the tops of the soap. The soap is obviously still not completely solid, it's not firm, but the top is solid enough that it can hold the icing. Now it's time to mix up the icing soap. So what we've done here is it's the exact same thing as mixing the melted oils and the lye water together, but this time it's going to be a bit more of a longer process of the mixing up part. So I've added just a little bit of titanium dioxide into the mixture, and after probably about 10 minutes of mixing, we've gotten to this stage where the soap is a lot thicker, and you can kind of see that it's holding its shape and the patterns that I've kind of like mixed through with the stick. I found that it's gotten to a decent solidness that I can use it by piping it in a piping bag. This is my favorite star tip. It's still a little bit sloppy, it looks like, putting it into the bag, which is why I'm holding the icing bag over the container. So as the pressure comes down, as more of the icing goes into the bag, you can see it kind of runs out. But what I've found is that if I think, oh no, just mix it a little bit longer, it's always like a little bit too long. And so I'd rather have it this little bit of like a little bit sloppy and be able to test it out like I'm doing right now. I check the top of the soap, and what I do is I spray it with isopropyl alcohol, which helps the kind of like the two layers of the soap adhere together. And so because the soap frosting, the icing is still very soft, like you can see off to the side there, the little the dollops that I tried to do, they kind of lost a little bit of their shape. What I'm doing is I'm laying down just a very like even one layer of tiny little frosting peaks, and that's going to be the base. Because I'm not adding any extra frosting on top to build up height yet, I don't mind that they're a little bit soft, so they will have time to set, and as you keep using the soap mixture, it will harden up. Now we're finished with the bottom layer of the icing, we're going to go on to the second. Another great thing about having the soap being very malleable and soft is that it makes great fake whipped cream. And that's exactly what we're going for on top of these chocolate milkshake soaps. So I'm just taking my time, having fun swirling it around, and we're then going to add the third final layer? Or it might be, no, there is another layer. There's 2 more layers that go on top. I can't even remember. Look at me go. So this is, honestly, one of my favorite parts is like the whipped cream look on top. And of course, getting all the nice little fluffy details in there. Once it's all hard, it just keeps its shape, but it looks so real. And now what I've made here out of some melt and pour glycerin soap are these little fake glacé cherries. They're like the little fake cherries you get on top of milkshakes. And so I'm just going along and I'm going to put one on top of each of the slices. They look so adorable and cute. And they've got little glittery mica colorant in it as well. So they're like a reddy pink color and they're glittery and sparkly. And now I'm going to be adding some melted melt and pour using a little syringe dropper, and I've added some gold mica in there, and so it came out looking like freaking caramel sauce. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of caramel. For me, it's quite sweet for me, but I was even enjoying the look of this. So here I am just drizzling it down into all the cracks and the grooves of this whipped icing on top and around the glacé cherries, and it was just adding to the look of this. It was just becoming even more realistic, looking like a chocolate milkshake with all of the toppings. This is the close-up look of this soap. It's directly after I've just finished icing and spraying with all the glitter and everything. And how good does this look? Now it's about 4 or 5 days later and I am about to slice up this soap. I was quite nervous what it'll look like on the inside. I was excited to find out. The time delay does depend on the soap maker. It was quite humid, so I decided that I would wait and let the soap really set up properly. And we can see it's turned out lovely. It's got the great chocolate flake looks through the sides of it. This is my beautiful little homemade soap slicer. My dad helped me make it. We had some father-daughter time trying to figure out how to make a slicer, and you can see that I have a mark line on it, which helps me know where to slice my soap, so each slice is the exact same. So I'm just lining it up, and then I'll just be using a regular kitchen knife and cutting down, and we're gonna find out what's on the inside. So I really had no idea what the finished product would look like on the inside, but I'm pleasantly surprised by how it turned out. You can see that the chocolate flakes throughout it. It's kind of got, it looks like a bit of a dark and bleeding effect into the white, and that's perfectly fine because of the dark colorant and the chocolate fragrance. It will bleed slightly into the white, and that's exactly what I wanted. Over time, as the color and the fragrance cures, we'll notice that the chocolate and the brown will kind of start to blend a bit more with the white. And I was going for that look of if you have chocolate syrup in your milkshake. Thank you so much for watching my first soap video, guys. I'm so happy with how these soaps turned out, and I hope you like the look of them too. If you'd like to keep up to date between videos of what's happening, please make sure to follow and subscribe to the channel, like this video, and also follow me on the other social medias with Saint Soaps. You can find all these links below in the description box. Have a great day, guys, and I'll catch up with you later.